Hello YouTube, today I'm going to show you guys how to use MySQL in your C# program. So first off, what you want to do is you want to go to this website and download the installer for the connector. I'm going to post a link in the description, of course, and then you're pretty much ready to go. So after that you want to go to your project and you want to add a reference to your project for the connector. So just search for MySQL and then select mysql.data, add it to your project. It's ready to go. But now one really important step: if you're going to release the project, you should copy locally the DLL files so everyone can use the database and they do not have to install the connector themselves for it to work. So how I'm going to explain how to use it is by programming all of these buttons. So we have a load all, is going to load everything from the database and put it in the list view. A insert is going to insert whatever is in here into it. A update is going to change the username or the password of the user, and delete is going to delete the user from the database. So that's pretty much everything covered. How am I going to do this? I made a little database ._database, has this ID, username and password. ID is an integer, username and password are both strings. As you can see here, I already entered some data into it, admin, and my user, my old pass. So these are the data that's going to be loaded. So I already made this, ready to go. But now I'm going to implement the database stuff into the user class. So what we want to do first is we want to fill in these constants that are going to provide us access to the database. So my server is at this address, or localhost, does not really matter. The name is stat_database, so I'm going to type in that. My user ID is root, fill in whatever it is for you, and password is, well, for me it's blank. I don't have a password set, so I'm not going to use it. Something else you want to do, well, we're first going to import the, no, it's not that, it's mysql.data, MySQL client, it's like this, okay. And now we're going to the MySQL connection. I'm going to call it database connection and just add it there. So now we want to initialize the database. And how we're going to do that is making a connection string using the connection string builder, calling a new connection string builder dot, and now here we're going to add everything: server equaling server, builder dot user ID equal UID, builder dot password equal password, builder dot database equaling database. You can set the other options if you want, you don't have to. Now if you want to know how a connection string looks like, I'm going to print it out in the console dot write line. I'm going to print that there. But first I need to have it string. Going to call it connection string equaling builder dot toString. Now we don't need it. Builder does not have a dispose method, so I'm going to set it to null. Okay, that's pretty much it. write the connection string, and now we need to set up the connection. So database what did we call it again? Oh, should make it static, private static. So now we can call it database con equaling new MySQL connection, and it's going to be connection string. Okay, that's good. Now as you can see here, that's pretty much here everything for initializing the connection, so we're ready to go. As you can see here, we also have all of these already. Get users, insert a user with a username and password, update it, user name and password, and delete it. So I'm going to just go over all of these. So button load all is going to pretty much load everything, but since we're going to call the load function itself multiple times, I'm going to put it in a separate method. So load all, so I'm going to call it, and I'm going to call load all here. I'm going to already save it. I'm also going to make a private user, current user. You'll see why I'm going to do that in a second. So, well, pretty much it's going to be, so if we select a user from this, it's really easy for us to do it. So even without selecting it, it will still fill in this current user data. So load all is going to, let me see, user.getUsers, which is going to provide us with a list of users. Users equal users.getUsers, like this. And now we can just do the for each user u in users. Okay, so load all is going to get users, and then we're going to add them to the list view, but we also need to clear the list view first so we don't have duplicates. Wait, this is going to clear everything, that's not good. So list_view.items.clear is going to do clearing all the items from it. Now we need to make a list view item. I'm going to call it item equaling new list view item, and I'm going to add them as a string array. So user.id, and we need to do it in the same order as here, ID, username, password. ID is a integer to string. Username, and u.password. So that's going to be that. One little tip, I'm going to set the tag to users so it's really easy for us to call it. And then pretty much this to users.items.add item. That's going to be that. But since we don't have this method implemented here, it's going to return a null object, so that's not really good. I'm going to make a list of users here. Users equaling a new list of users, and I'm going to return users. So what I want to do now is I want to make a command, make a query, then put it in a command, then getting everything from the database, and that's pretty much what we're going to do here. So I'm going to make a string query called query, and what we want to do is we want to get everything from the database. So, well, actually it's like just like this. Select everything from users, so that's what we're going to do here. Select everything from users, and voila, that's our query. Now you want to make a command, so it's going to be MySQL, let's see, MySQL command. I'm going to call it cmd, equaling a new command, and in here we need to do the command text or query and the connection, so database con. Before we can execute it, we need to open up the connection, so database connection.open. Really important, and I suggest you guys do it directly after that. It's already tightly closed, so you have it pretty much set and you don't forget it. So in between the open and the close, we want to do command.execute. We need to have the reader because we have multiple data. So execute reader is going to return a MySQL data reader. Reader equaling that, so that's pretty much that. Now let's see what reader has from methods. Does it have to read? Yes. So that's going to be it. So while reader dot read, so while it has data to read, we can just make make user objects and add them to the user list. So user u equaling new user, which takes in a ID, a username, and a password. So reader dot, well, I'm going to make it a little bit more clear for you guys. So int ID equaling reader, and now in here you can specify the name or a index. Now the name here is, let's see, column name, ID, username, and password. That's what we are going to fill in here. I'm going to type the name of the column, not the index, to make it more clear. Let's see. It's going to return a object. Oh, just cast it to a integer. Well, let's see. It's really, yes, it's an integer. String username equaling reader username, and string password equaling reader password. Okay. Well, I'm going to put that as a string. Okay, that's ready to go. So now we can make the user equaling new user, ID, username, password, and add it to the users. Now let's see if that's going to work. Load all. Whoops, okay, I already know what I did wrong here. So, as you can see here, we have the Initialize Database. It's a static void. It should be initializing, but it's actually not. So I'm going to call it here. You should call it somewhere else, but this is just a demonstration. So Initialize Database. And now it should work. And you should also see, as you can see here, this is the connection string for me. So you can also pass in that instead of getting the string builder, the connection string builder and stuff like that, so you don't have to use it. The load all should also work. As you can see, we have admin and my user. Now if we click it, it should already fill it in. So I'm going to do that really quick. It should also be here. Yes, this. Item equaling this user dot selected items. Going to put in the zeroth index like this. Current user equaling item dot tag. Pass it to user, and also we're going to string u equaling current user dot username, string p equaling current user dot password, and then just like this, text username dot text equaling u, text password text equaling p, and we should also get the ID, and ID equaling current user dot ID, text ID dot text equaling ID dot toString. Did I do something wrong here? No. Let's see if that's working. Load all, select it. It's going to, okay. So users dot selected items dot count is greater than 0. Well, if it's not, I'm going to return this should fix it, I guess. Going to put it like this. Oops. Just to be sure. Okay, that's working. So now we can go to the insert string u equaling text username dot text, string p equaling text password dot text, if string dot is null or empty, or string dot is null or empty p, then we're going to, I'm going to show a message box. It is empty, and return the methods. And just for safety, and now we can just go like this: user dot insert. So you can see it's going to return a user object. So current user equaling that. After it got inserted, I'm going to reload reload it, so load all. That's going to refill it, so that should also be working. And now let's go to the insert statement, which is pretty much going to be the same as here, like this. So I'm going to copy paste that, remove this, and make it something else. So insert is going to be insert into users. What do we want? We want to insert username, password, values, and I'm going to make it a formatted string. I'm not going to use the parameters. You can, but I'm not going to. So it's going to be string.format, and it's going to take in the username and password, and it's going to replace that, the username with this and the password with this. And let's see, that should do it. User u equaling null, or I'm not sure yet, and return u. That's what it's going to do. Oh wait, user, it's going to do that. Okay, user can be null, blah blah. Let's see, what do we need now? Now we just need to actually execute the command dot execute non-query, because we don't want anything back. And also, before we do that, we want to get the ID back, last inserted ID, because guys, let's see here, it's going to be an auto incremental, and well, it's really easy if you have that set, auto incremental. So we can just use this. This is going to return a long, but I'm going to downcast it to a integer, which is not really that bad in my case, but you should be using a long. So that being said, we can now make our user object with the ID that's generated, the username we type, and the password. That's going to return, oops, that's going to, we opened the connection, we closed it, we executed it. Okay, that should be working by the looks of it. I'm going to type in Matthi and my epic password. Going to call insert, and voila, as you can see, ID is 4 because I tested it out and I already deleted my old user that I added. And this should also be working. Yeah, that's pretty much working. Now we need to do update. Let's go to update. Update is, what is update going to do? It's going to update the already existing user. So we need this again, the safety for it, and we want to the current user to update its username or password, but we're going to do both as we can, and after that we're going to load all again. So we have the updated info. Update is going to pretty much be the same as this. I'm going to copy and paste. We have everything here, the open connection, the closing one. We don't need to return the user for this. we just need to change the query, and it's going to be pretty much it. We also don't need this. We don't need to return a user object. Okay, let's make the query. So what was it again? A update. So update users. Oops, users. Set. Now what do we want? We want to set the username equaling that, and then password equaling this. Okay, really we should not be forgetting the final part where ID equaling this. Was it this? Let me just check. Yes, or ID. So don't forget the where part, else we're going to change every user's username to the one you put and the password to the same thing. So it's not really great if you do that. Let's see. Text password, username, okay. It's going to edit, and now I'm going, okay, that should be working. So let's load all first. Now my user, I'm going to change the password to my new pass updates. Voila, it changed it. Let's see if it's really working in the database. Re-execute it. And as you can see, my new pass, it's here in the database. It's working, guys. It's working, it's pretty good. Now the final step, we're almost done with this tutorial, is delete, which is also really easy. It's going to check if the current user object not equaling, well, I'm going to put it if it's equaling null, then we're going to show a message box stating no user selected, like this, and return the method else current user dot delete and load all again. Okay, now just make it like this. It's actually going to be the same as here. Voila. Let's see. PIU don't exist in this context. Okay, well, we actually don't need them. Remove this. We only going to needing the ID for it, so we don't actually. It's really important to set the where ID equaling the ID, else we're going to delete everyone from the database, and that's not what we want. So delete users where, well, actually you can choose where ID or username or whatever you want, but I'm going to choose this one where ID equaling our ID, like this. So we made the query, put it in a MySQL command object, open the connection, close the connection, and then execute non-query. That should also be working if you ask me. Just for 1 second, delete users where ID, yep, that's going to work if I didn't do anything wrong. So let's see. We're going to delete this, and there is something wrong. this should be working if you ask me. Let's see. Delete from users. That should be it. Delete from users. Let's see. And it got removed like this. Now if we're going to load it all again, it's not going to work. Making a new account, starting it. Okay, it's working. Let's see. Executing again. Okay, that's pretty much it. So we got everything working. Everything is good. Now if the application closes, you also want to close your connection. Now the best way to do that is by calling, like here, application, and calling the application closing stuff. Application exit equaling this, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to use a lambda expression for this, so it's going to take in a object, the sender, and the event, well, I'm going to call args, like this. And now what we want to do is dot we want to if it's not equaling null, then we want to dot dispose and database connection equaling null. Now let's see, did we do everything we needed to do? I'm pretty much sure we did. Oh, I'm thinking of something. We forgot to close our reader. Reader.close, really important. Else would have a problem with getting the user 2 times behind each other. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it, guys. Started last time. Load all. Everything working. Update it, working. Deleting it, working. Everything is working, so thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope you learned something from it. If you have some questions for me, just put them in the comments, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon again.